Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Friday to everybody. Today I'm going to do a preview of some NFL games, requests from some viewers to do so. I do mostly college football reviews on this channel. I am a huge NFL fan, obviously, Carolina Panthers fan, but I love the NFL. I love football, period. I don't care if it's high school football, college football, NFL football, whatever. Now, seeing that my team, the Panthers, are out of it this year, I have no bias whatsoever in these games that are being played this weekend. Full disclosure, though, like a lot of people that don't like the Patriots for winning so much, I'm not a huge Patriots fan myself. It does get sort of old watching them win. I do have tons of respect for Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, that whole organization. I mean, what they've done in the past, whatever, how long has he been there, 18 years or whatever it is incredible. But I'm just going to start with the Patriots and Jaguars game, the AFC Championship game. I actually did do some NFL previews earlier, a few months ago when I first started making videos on YouTube. And I criticized Blake Bortles. I said that I wasn't a believer in Jacksonville. This is when they were, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 weeks into the season, and they were winning some games, beating some pretty good teams. I, recognized that they had a great defense. That's, nobody can argue the fact that they have, what are they ranked? Their defense is ranked number 2 overall, I think. Minnesota's number 1. But anyway, them going out and getting Leonard Fournette in the draft was a huge plus for them because they really need a run game because Blake Bortles is not a great passer. We all know that. Now, I am still not a believer in Blake Bortles. I don't think that he's the reason that they are in the AFC Championship game. I think he could easily be the reason that they wouldn't be, if they weren't. It really all falls on his shoulders. The defense has carried them all year, and they have basically placed the offense entirely on Leonard Fournette's back. But Leonard Fournette single-handedly basically won them that game last week as far as the offense goes. And here's the thing, though, is what the Patriots do, and what Bill Belichick in particular does, is he takes away your biggest threat. That's what he does on defense. Now, the Patriots don't have an elite defense. They have been exposed. They've been exposed by several teams this year, especially through the air. That's the thing, though. That's the key to this. Carolina Panthers beat them in Foxborough through the air. They lost a couple of other games, and they were beat through the air. I don't see Blake Bortles beating anybody through the air, okay? I think that they'll key in on Leonard Fournette. He's probably still going to get his. He's that good. He's still going to get his yards. He's still probably going to score some points. Is he going to go out there and put a 3-touchdown performance up on New England in Foxborough? I don't think so. They will key in on him, and they will force Blake Bortles to throw that ball all over the field. It's a big unknown whether he's able to do that. I tend to believe that he's not going to be able to do that against the Patriots in Foxborough. Okay. Now, Jacksonville's defense, on the other hand, is extremely dangerous. They probably will force a turnover or two. If they're able to score some points defensively, a defensive touchdown or maybe get a turnover in the red zone to give Blake Bortles and Leonard Fournette and that Jacksonville offense a short field, make it easier for them to try to get in the end zone, that may be the key to the game. If Jacksonville is going to win this game, there's going to have to be at least 2 turnovers, in my opinion, on defense, and possibly one defensive touchdown, a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown or something like that. The thing is, though, with Tom Brady, is he has so many weapons, and he spreads the ball around so much. So you have Bouye and Ramsey, probably the two of the best defensive backs in the NFL. So Ramsey and Bouye are going to have to cover. Most likely, the 2 biggest threats through the air are going to be Cooks and, of course, Gronk. Gronk's borderline uncoverable, okay? He's a matchup problem for everybody. But let's say that you have Ramsey and Bouye taking those two biggest threats out, the deep threat in Cooks, and then, of course, the overall threat with Gronk. So you still have Amendola and Hogan, which aren't superstars by any stretch of the imagination, but whenever you're on a Patriots and you have Tom Brady throwing you the ball, he can make those guys look like Randy Moss. He's an absolute master at spreading the ball around and making stars out of mediocre, average, no-name players. He's done it his whole career. Now let's just imagine here for a second that they are successful in taking away the big threat of Gronk, which I don't think they will be able to, and Cooks. And, you know, let's say Hogan and Amendola are, you know, not on their A game that day. You know, they're making a few plays here and there, but they're not lighting the world on fire. Then you still have Lewis, the running back, who is a dual threat, sort of like Le'Veon Bell. I'm not saying he's Le'Veon Bell, but he can run the ball, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, he's like a receiver and a running back, and the dude is a stud, okay? There is just so many, even a defense as good as Jacksonville's is going to have to cover the sideline to sideline. And Tom Brady is just too damn good at finding holes in your defense, no matter how good your defense is, and exposing you. Also the intangible factor in this game, okay? The fact that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick seem to always rise to the occasion in these big games, especially since this game's in New England. That's going to really help New England. I mean, clearly, Foxborough is not an easy place to play. I haven't looked at the weather. I'm assuming it's going to be very cold out there. Tom Brady is a great cold weather player. Blake Bortles is a Florida kid. Went to college in Florida. Played his entire NFL career in Florida. I'm not convinced that he's going to be able to throw it all over the yard in cold weather. Yes, they did beat Pittsburgh in the cold weather, but that was not due to Blake Bortles throwing the ball, which is what I think he's going to end up having to do. So my official score prediction for this game is going to be 30-21. I think that the Patriots are going to win by more than a touchdown. If it's less than a touchdown, it wouldn't surprise me. That's just how good the Jaguars' defense is. But at the end of the day, I don't know how anybody can bet against New England in a championship game at home, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady team. I just don't see it. Now, as far as the Vikings and the Eagles go, so if somebody would have told you at the beginning of the season that the NFC Championship game would be Case Keenum at quarterback versus Nick Foles at quarterback, I don't think anybody would have believed you. I wouldn't have believed you, okay? If you go throughout history, you're not going to see that many Super Bowl winning teams with basically backup quarterbacks. Now, I understand. Nick Foles has not always been a backup his whole career. He's been a starter, not only in Philadelphia, but with the Rams, and now back to Philadelphia as a backup. But Nick Foles is no Carson Wentz, not even close. Case Keenum has had an unbelievable year, nothing but respect for what he's done. I think he's shocked everybody. No matter what happens this year, he's either going to be re-signed by the Vikings or he will be picked up by another team and probably be a starting quarterback. We've seen this before from quarterbacks, though. Actually, we've seen it from Nick Foles, right, in the past. They come in, they light things on fire for a season, they have a great season, everyone thinks they're the second coming, and then they sort of flatline from there on out, okay? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Case Keenum. Who knows? Only time will tell. But I'm not sure that Case Keenum or Nick Foles, quite honestly, can win the Super Bowl and take it all away. Now, as far as this game goes, though, so you have the #1 defense in the NFL in Minnesota, and what is the Eagles ranked? Like #4 overall defense. Two great defenses, okay? I believe a little bit more in the Eagles' run game than the Vikings. The Vikings have a couple of, pretty good backs. You have McKinnon and what's the other guy's name? I can't even think of his name right now. Anyway, and then, of course, the Eagles have Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount. This game is probably going to be one on the ground. It's probably going to be a defensive game. I don't see it being a very high scoring game, to be honest with you. This game could be like 10-3 or 17-10, something in that range. This is a much harder game to pick. Okay, I know that in Vegas the Eagles are an underdog at home, which is kind of shocking, especially considering that the Vikings really lost that game last week, right? I mean, they won the game on a fluke play on the last play of the game with with time expiring. But, you know, if 99 times out of 100 that play is going to, you know, not going to win them the game. He's going to get stopped, right? That was just a fluke, sort of a fluke play. And right now we'd be talking about the Saints against the Eagles. But I'm going to pick the Eagles. And the reason I'm going to pick the Eagles, despite the fact that they have Nick Foles, is because it's in Philadelphia. And I think that, you know, these momentum swings, when a team has such a high, like Minnesota had last week on that play, such an emotional high, to have to go on the road the week after that and play against a great Philadelphia defense or a great Philadelphia team, and win in a championship atmosphere and in a championship game is going to be extremely tough for them to do. So I'm going to pick the Eagles, and I'm going to say 14-7. It's hard to pick. It's really hard to pick the score in this game too. So my official predictions are Philadelphia and New England in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to give you my prediction. Well, first of all, we have to see if I'm right, you know, on these picks. But I'm not going to give you my Super Bowl prediction yet. We'll save that for next week. But anyway, full disclosure, I would probably rather see Minnesota and Jacksonville, the two teams I didn't pick to win these games. So, you know, I'm picking against what I want. I'm picking what I think is really going to happen. So, anyway, have a great day. I will talk to you guys later. Pigskin Pete, checking out.